Hi everybody. Just wanted to give you a quick rundown on the multi-threading API in Java. This enables you to accept socket connections from a web server and start a thread. What you want to do is you want to have an internet address and a port, or you want to have a host name that can be resolved into an address by the domain name service. There are certain parameters which you can adjust in a TCP/IP connection that include timeout, but adjusting those things is not recommended unless you know what you're doing, and it's an advanced topic. The accept method, which is closed when you're looking to, which is open when you look to accept a connection from a client, is going to block your primary thread of execution. And so what you're going to do when you get an accept method to handle that accept is you're going to launch a thread, and that thread is going to open up an input stream and an output stream and manage the I/O with the client. The server socket is going to have a accept method, and it will block the primary thread of execution until a connection is made. And so you have to be prepared for that when you're running a server socket by launching a thread, waiting for the accept, and then when the accept comes in, you got to launch another thread to handle it. So typically what you do is you have some sort of server threads that are running, and then you're going to handle one client process at a time, and these processes are going to essentially generate data and then have you generate response data. So this is what they call a stop and wait protocol that comes in from the browser. Your multi-threaded servers are able to take advantage of the built-in threading that Java contains, and what you're going to do is you're going to create an accept method. So let's take a look at the code for that. Here comes your web server, and it's going to come in on a port 8080. So you'll be on the local host, you'll be running your little web server, and the web server is going to have a port number associated with it, and it'll be port 8080, and then you'll start a server socket on that port, and then you will accept connections. If there are two server sockets being started on the same port because you failed to kill the last one, or because there's another application running on port 8080, you'll get a socket in use exception at runtime. When you start the client, you would expect some sort of a thread to be launched, and this client is going to be runnable, so the thread will know how to run the thread client. It'll take the socket, which is going to come in from the constructor, and then proceed to use some of these strings to generate responses to the client, which will be a browser. So the socket comes in through the constructor. We create a buffered reader to read in text from the socket. We create a print writer to write out text to the socket. The text is, generally speaking, the only high-level data that you need for some simple web server like this. But you can use higher-level data if you like. Presently, when we look at an input stream, we simply see an unformatted sequence of bytes. The buffered reader puts text formatting on top of that byte stream. The mechanism for string tokenizing is there so that we can parse out the get invocations, and if somebody calls get, then what we do is we respond with a count to 10 program, which has been geared to count to 20. Let's make it count to 10 now. And what it'll do is it'll put out new line methods. That's the break tag, and then it'll put out the I equals, and it'll tell us what I is up to. So it's a little for loop that outputs some HTML inside of some HTML tags, which then have a proper HTML header. And when we run our little web server, it looks like it doesn't do anything, but it really does. Because if we go to our browser and we type in localhost 8080, we get the web server response, which, if we look at the page source, is exactly what we pumped out to the HTML. A series of breaks with an HTML start and an HTML end. And that's essentially all you need to build your very own web server. Not that this is a particularly useful web server, but it is a reasonably good model for something that you might use for an embedded system. And that's what I have for multi-threaded web services. Hope you like my little presentation. Thank you.